Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Hello. Paul Trini here with the one and only Marc Reisen.
Happy to be here.
There is only one of you, right?
I think so.
Okay.
There may be a few.
There may be,
but
we have the best one. We have the best Marc ever with a C.
With a C.
With a C. Good call.
Very special.
So welcome everybody. This is actually day one of our UI UX 3-day stream, kicking it off with Marc. Super happy to have you here. Want to do a couple quick things real fast. Thanks for joining us, Laura and Vono and Equipios. I'm just going to have a hard time saying that name. Munir's in the house.
Hi from Brazil.
Yeah, so this is super fun. Yes, we are live from beautiful San Francisco. We have you, Marc, with us today. We have a full schedule, so this is awesome. We have Zach London, Timothy Hikes, and Catherine Wang. We're going basically from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. And thank you for joining us from Brazil. It's probably, you're 5 hours ahead, depending on where you're at in Brazil. Good to have you here. So this is fun.
This
Marc,
is really fun.
You happy to be here?
I'm very happy.
You've joined us before?
Yeah, I sat in on a session with Carlos from Trav and Los podcast.
Gotcha.
And we spoke about storytelling. We talked about Mega Man, all kinds of fun stuff.
Oh, Mega Man.
Yeah, it was a good conversation.
I love Mega Man.
It's a good game.
Oh, good. I think it's fun that what you have planned today, but also what we have planned for everyone today is essentially we have giveaways that we're going to have about every hour. We'll do just a fun random giveaway in about an hour, and then we'll also have a contest. So I should mention this contest real fast. So this is pretty cool. So basically what we have, everyone, is we have a fun contest. You can click on the contest tab, but essentially it is creating an experience around a smart fridge. Okay, so you can see, you just download this template. Again, look where I am, scrolling up, you're chatting right here, you should be in the contest area. Basically designing a smart fridge experience, starting with this file right here, and make sure you include 3 screens, and then just publish out that and just share that published URL to this bit.ly. So it's that simple. I just want to show the file really fast. So let me just jump over and open that up, which is right here. There it is. So this is what everybody will get, by the way.
I'm excited to see how these turn out.
Yeah, I think this is fun because I like the idea of just thinking about a smart fridge, being like, it's gonna be like, really, Paul? You're going back for more ice cream? Really? You know, I can just see it saying that. Like, you know it's 1 a.m. and you're going back for more ice cream?
Absolutely. Or I can let you know just what you're running out of.
What you're running out of?
Yeah.
Which is ice cream.
Which
typically.
is ice cream in your case, yeah.
But this is cool. So you do have to have 3 screens. These are just starter screens. You could drop in photos and different things here. Pretty easy. You don't have to have this layout, but again, we're just giving you this file to make it easier for you. So that is what we're... Miriam, hopefully that sounds okay to you, and Ahmed as well. Also curious if you are new to this live stream, just in general. If you've never joined us before, would love to hear a hello. That would be awesome. Because really, you were like co-hosting with Carlos.
Yeah, Carlos was running the show.
Yeah.
And we were just kind of sparring ideas, talking about storytelling and design, talking a little bit about what we're going to be covering today, which is kind of first user experience and onboarding.
Gotcha. No, that's cool, and I like how you think about things. I think this is going to be fun. So let's. Okay, first of all, we want to welcome a couple people here. We see you, Sydney. Welcome here. And by the way, not to ignore our regulars, like I really appreciate you being here, Felicia and Mitch and Miriam and everyone joining us today, because we really value you guys, and I feel like you guys are like all my friends. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
absolutely. It's
kind of fun.
Yeah, and like I think it's also important to know that during this, we're going to be asking you guys questions. We'd like you to contribute. In many ways, this can be a project that you're a part of and you're helping kind of steer at the helm. So keep the ideas coming. Have fun. No idea is a bad idea.
Yeah. Keep them coming. That's exactly right.
Equipios
is from India. Good to have you here. Kenya, where are you from? Always curious. So we're just saying our hellos this morning, and we'll dive into the what we're going to be working on today. So again, feel free to download that app, download that basically that XD file if you want to enter into that contest, and you can win a Creative Cloud for a year, and in about an hour and 25 minutes, we will be reviewing those prototypes. So basically, download that file, make something, get it in, potentially win Creative Cloud. So, all right.
Cool.
Marc, and some people might not know you. Tell us, what do you do for a living?
Sure. So I'm a design team lead at Atlassian. I've been there for almost 3 years. What I do, I guess, in regards to design, like I've been a creative my whole life. Like from growing up, I used to take apart my GI Joes and redesign them and paint them and kind of like make new GI Joes. And then I got into comic books and illustration.
Did you really, so I remember there were always some of those characters that, like, if you took apart the arms, they were actually held together by a rubber band.
Yep. Yeah.
And if you broke that rubber band,
done.
Doesn't have arms anymore. It was the worst.
He became shrapnel.
Dude, that happened on my He-Man.
Really?
Yeah, the legs. If you broke a leg, oh, you're screwed.
Yep.
Oh, man.
I remember the He-Mans. So yeah, 80s babies, sounds like.
80s. Yeah, big time. I love it all, man.
Yeah. So yeah, I got into comic books and illustration, but I love dabbling in design, like anything from furniture to building products to
designing cars after a while.
To designing cars. Yep, that's what I ended up doing pretty early on in my career.
I know. I love what you're showing me. Can we look at it just for a second? I don't know if it's too early, but
happy to share some. It's in the car stuff folder.
Of course.
So, I mean, some of this work is pretty, as you can see, that's dated in 2007. But some of this stuff were projects that I was doing while I was working at Chrysler. And this ended up being my senior thesis from college. I actually did a Batmobile. And then eventually that project would turn into something that would become a Hot Wheels. And we won a competition. It was a lot of fun. We got to go to Las Vegas and, like, unveil a model and then finally see the toy models being made. So growing up with someone that, I had the little black Pontiac Firebird with like the gold eagle on it. So growing up with Hot Wheels and playing with them and then being able to create one to inspire other people.
Dude, that's awesome.
It was pretty
So
incredible.
you actually got to design a Hot Wheels car.
Yep. Yeah, and there's just some hand sketches in here. More product-specific pieces, like things that would exist in the interior.
Yeah.
So just a wide range of.
I love it.
All different
No, it
types
looks
of
cool,
things.
and again, this all has to do with, like, sort of like your user experience. It's like you have. You know what you need to have the basics for a car, but then what can I play with outside of that car?
Absolutely. And, that's actually how I started getting into web and UX and UI. Now, working on a car, it can take anywhere from 5 to 7 years from concept to reality. And so when I was thinking about that, I said, okay, I could spend the next 15 years maybe doing 3 cars. But with product design on web and applications, you can try something in a weekend, and that's what we're here to do right now, right?
Yeah.
We're here to try out an idea and see if it has some legs and
then
see where it goes.
Which is awesome. With the community's help, by the way, Marco, if that works for you. So, we're going to just kind of work on this together and see what we come up with. What is the plan for the next couple of days?
Cool. So right now we're going to be focusing on first user experience. And for me, first user experience is basically the first impression of your product. This means someone has searched for something, either discovered your product via Google or they're in the App Store and they're kind of seeing, oh, this was a featured app of the year. And then from there you kind of download the product, you go through the onboarding and you kind of see the primary screens before you're asked to log in or have some type of kind of confirmation. And then you actually get into the product. And sometimes there can be products that have empty states. And because there's no data populated there, or sometimes you're asked to kind of populate the data. So we kind of want to walk through that spectrum of what it's like as a first-time user. And we'll be covering like some primary principles and some things that exist in that experience. And I want to spend some time walking people through just rationale.
Okay.
And when you're coming up with ideas, how it's important to answer the why and how it's important to kind of have a reason and a focus and an intention into the work, because when your work has intention, then in every sense of the word, it has a reason for being, because you're creating with purpose at that point. And I think that that's really powerful.
Yeah, that's interesting. And the sort of like what are people going to, like, why are they going to download it? It's like, what's their, not only their intention, but like, what's their motivation? Like, motivating them through these different screens, you know, is another thing. Because also sometimes when I have to fill out a whole profile, there are so many abandoned carts out there, if you will.
Absolutely.
Because I have to go through all these steps. So like, where's my motivation, and how can we even get some information out of the user as well that we need, kind of. So.
And we'll talk about, and then we'll explore ways to do that. We'll talk about what should be the minimal ask for a customer in order to get them engaged in the product.
Yeah.
And some of the things that you were talking about aligning customer or user expectations, right? Like, if I'm downloading this app, I expect, or I start building these ideas of what I want to see in there, and then those are opportunities to kind of delight the customer and say, oh, look, we did this magical thing for you, or these things just work. And those are really, really good opportunities to create a product that people, you know, hopefully love.
Yeah, exactly. What are you thinking for the, not to derail you, but like,
no, go
what
ahead.
are you thinking around like a product or an app?
So for the theme, as you acknowledged, Apple's top app of the year for 2017 was Calm. And hopefully some of you have kind of picked up a little bit on just what's going on kind of in media, but mindfulness has become a really important topic. And whether mindfulness is meditation, whether mindfulness is focus, Cowboy disagrees, or whether mindfulness is really just like general presence, you know, are we present? Are we able to kind of process what's going on around us and be conscious of what's happening? And I think mindfulness brings a lot of you know, in the world of apps where there's a lot of consumption, there's a lot of content. It's always good to kind of have the yin to the yang, right?
Yeah.
And to balance that out.
Yeah, I think we're kind of reaching that point. Like you said, the app of the year was Calm. There's also Headspace and Muse and all these apps that are dealing with mindfulness. So this is like a really good topic. We're going to need your help with coming up with probably a name for the app and different ideas, too.
Yeah, I'd love to hear some ideas on the name. Definitely haven't thought too much about it. So
yeah. But this is huge, man. I like this because, again, we're just like, it's not another game to distract you, but here's something to like hopefully like enrich your life, you know, ultimately.
Yep.
So, but thanks for joining us, Adrian, and even Cowboy Networks. Thank you. Oh, by the way, let's talk about this. This is good. So essentially we have actually an update to Adobe XD, just so people know. So if you are going to download the file, there's also an update to it. And all you need to do is right over here, Adobe XD. You can see I've already updated it, but if you have your Creative Cloud desktop app, it will say update. You can hit that update and get all these fancy new features. As I click over, you can see that they're right here. So we'll be talking about these throughout the day, but you know, the ability to underline text, adjusting the stroke, whether it's inside, middle, or outside, stock licensing, editing photos, and a ton of things, because I think there's a lot in here. And again, look at this, like, yeah, we had an update last month. Now we have like, I feel like every time I turn around, it's a good thing, but there's like more features and things that are available to me. So we'll be talking about these updates, but feel free to update Adobe XD. That would be great, Marco.
Yeah, so download those before we get started.
By the way, this is like super smart. Like, by the way, I'm getting ahead of myself, but you know, this is again, say if I want to underline experience, right? So here it is, zoop, underline. Pretty straightforward, right? Right over here, there it is. And it's smart about it. See how the P breaks that, the baseline, it will kind of go underneath it, so. Fancy stuff.
Very fancy.
Right.
I'm trying to recall if that's something that's new. I mean, I've seen it before, but generally I feel like I've seen it done in a graphic sense where somebody's actually creating kind of the print material or the poster art. But it's great to see that it's...
yeah, because this makes it, like, otherwise the line would have to be two, like, yeah, you'd probably see a designer even do this underline as two separate lines. But here, and again, that screws up because if you did it any lower, you're going to conflict with the line below it, and this is going to look funny. So we could have done it the easy way, but we spent more time on it. Listen to me like I did it myself. Oh, you know, I did it.
Wait, you
I
didn't?
decided to do it this way. Because I'm smart and I'm cool like that.
So not only does Paul host, he also
yeah, that's why I'll be on for the
everything.
first 2 hours. Then I can get back to work. I'll come back here. I'm like, here's another update. All right, hello.
Cool.
Yes, Triana's from Colombia too. I think I might have saw that, but yes, Patrick Barrett. So I love hearing all of these. Laura's from Colombia. Just all these various suggestions for features and different things because. Again, we're constantly rolling out stuff.
Yeah. Hi,
but enough about that. It's not a commercial. I was just saying, hey, there's a new box of some new presents for you. It's not even Christmas yet, and you got a little present in Adobe XD for you. So yeah, we can probably switch back to your screen. That's how people can stalk you. Somebody was asking how can they show you a design. Obviously, you have how to follow you there. Essentially, stalk you on social media.
Yeah,
Marc Reisen.
Stalk away. I also have a calendar link on my Twitter, so if you ever want to schedule like 15 minutes to talk, it automatically loads onto my calendar, and then I drop a video link in there, and always happy to chat and meet with people, hear ideas, help with feedback,
really?
whatever's needed.
Oh, nice.
So.
What a nice guy. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me. So I'm going to move kind of into the segment. So again, just these are the particulars if you want to kind of stalk me. Say hi. Say that you definitely caught us on Adobe. Provide a little context. It'd be great.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, what we're going to be talking about today is primarily going to be UX and UI, but focused on the first user experience. So I think first user experience can mean a couple things for a few people. I'd wanted to first cover at least like what this topic or what we're going to be covering is actually geared towards. So that way, if you find you're not going to get any value of this, I'm happy to adjust. And if Adobe wants me to come back at any point in time, we can definitely pick up some other pieces. But this is focused on for beginners interested in product design and mobile product designers. So we are going to be going into onboarding as well as product landing and in-product experiences. So we'll be hitting kind of the full spectrum. But I'm focusing on first user experience because I feel like sometimes it's overlooked. And introducing kind of the onboarding experience or how you want to train somebody into using your product. You always kind of jump immediately into the product and just assume that, well, these are paradigms, these are things that exist, so somebody's going to know how to use this. And we want to kind of take a step beyond that to help people get familiar with it. So platform today, I'll be focusing on iOS. I have an iOS. I design for both platforms, but today I just decided to do iOS. If we have time, I'm happy to take any of this work into Android as well. So let's talk about first user experience. So again, this is the way that a customer or user is first experiencing your product. Now, there's a lot of different ways to discover new products. As we mentioned today, it can come as a result from the App Store. You can search on Google and say, hey, I'm looking for a mindfulness app, or hey, I'm looking for a meditation app. And through SEO and optimization, you're going to find out how to kind of point you in the direction of the app that you want to look for. It can come in content through blog posts or a video like this, word of mouth, and then advertisements.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna have that go. I was gonna have that go full screen.
Yeah, no.
Because it's such a gorgeous graphic.
Well, thank you. Little. What did I call this?
Gorgeous.
I called this the flowing funnel of conversion.
The flowing funnel of conversion, and then you can just go
full screen.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Cool. So yeah, talking about touchpoints, and these kind of come in the form of the app icon, the app in the App Store.
I'm trying to. Go ahead. You can talk through it.
Cool. So once you've kind of found the app, the next thing you do is you land into the product, and that goes through. It can be either be an application, it can be a landing page, it can be a web product, it can be a native Mac or PC client. It really depends, but the point is that you have to download something and you kind of have to get in. So one thing to kind of notice, you can see kind of the density of this chart as it's flowing from left to right. What I'm trying to signify is every time a customer hits these milestones, you're losing customers. So as they go through, there's basically potential for people to just say, oh, you know what, I got interrupted. I spilled coffee on myself, put the app down, and then I kind of forget what I was doing. Or it can just be like, this isn't for me, and therefore I'm just going to kind of move on and find something else. So through every one of these milestones, your customers...
Potential chance to lose people.
Yeah, your
like
users.
I literally did that this morning on Calm. I just downloaded it. I haven't even touched it yet.
Yep. And what happened?
I'll probably forget about it for a bit, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, that's all that. What's this new icon? Oh yeah.
So this happens with every product. You know, we're not going to focus on growth and kind of growth metrics here, or how you optimize for growth. But I just wanted to kind of call out just a very high level understanding that this is the reality, that you have a lot of people coming into the product, and as they go through, they eventually kind of get smaller and smaller and smaller until you reach some. So what should happen at the end of this is it should actually flower out and come back around, and then continue to populate more people in. So I think I left off on land, and then the next thing is engage. Now this is where UX and UI really makes its focus. You know, this comes in the form of what's the value proposition, and I have a definition for that in the presentation.
Yeah.
It can come in the form of sign up, and then also when you're engaging with the product, you know, like in Instagram, it's about creation, and it's about inviting people on Twitter to connect with so that you get more activity that's happening in your activity feed. But basically it comes around adding some form of content or doing a thing, right? Like in its simplest sense, you're engaging by doing something.
Hey, this is, let's see, Anita brings up a good point. It's the first time she's seen XD being used as a presentation, which is good. Like,
Yeah,
it totally makes sense.
Yeah, so, well, thank you. I just figured
awesome.
it was kind of in context. And my hope is I can share this whole presentation after the fact. So
Or not even after the fact. We'll hopefully get it out sooner.
Great, yeah.
And then people can comment on it, on the prototype through the link.
Yeah, it'd be really good just to be able to share this. That way the framework and just kind of everything that we go through as a worksheet is available.
Okay, Gus Perez wants it. Can you hit share? Can you do that real fast? And again, we can still look at the screen while that's loading, so we can get out of. Just hit escape.
There we go.
And
share. Do you want to publish
prototype? Yep.
Or manage published links? Let's do it.
Let's do allow comments. Ooh, by the way, you're already pointing out some new things real fast.
Hotspots.
Show hotspots and open in full screen is also new as well. So those are two new options. You know, open in full screen is what's going to happen because this is a presentation, so why not? Hopefully it's not too annoying for everyone. And then also show hotspots, because sometimes if you don't want to show hotspots, it's more real world, you know. So yeah, go ahead and hit publish, and then we'll get that pasted in and all that good stuff.
Okay, great.
But yeah, this is nice. Again, this is Gus. We will get that to you as soon as this gets done. Gus, also Adobe XD does have the ability for grids, and in fact, just so you know, and again, yeah, you switch to me. Here again, I'm dealing with this smart fridge file, right? So this is just your starting point, but I can go to any one of these screens, and right over here, we have a square grid that I can add. You can see all these checkers, and then also a layout right here that's currently 4 columns. Let's make it 6, and I can continue to work that way. And again, this is just one of those features that we sneak in and almost like don't tell people about, like we do, but like, you know, just, you know, might go unnoticed. So
that's really valuable. I actually have a screen with it on there too. I was definitely using it, so it's super helpful.
Sweet.
So we'll make sure to get the link to you guys and girls, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we'll just finish up with the presentation. So the last piece after engagement is an opportunity for delight. And for me, this is kind of where the magic or the aha moments come in. Twitter would refer to this as something called the tweetable moments. So this is something that you've done in the product that people are like, oh, wow, that was awesome. It automatically did something for me. Or when I pulled a refresh, I got this explosion of confetti all over the screen, and that really made me happy.
Yeah.
But in delight, it can also be, oh, wow, I'm connected with friends. It could be, like, for the sake of Instagram, I have these filters that make me look like a professional or add something to my ability to create. And then empowerment, right? A lot of product is centered around teaching customers, like we're doing right now in XD, how to be pros or how to feel like a pro. And then that's something you want to share with your friends. And that's the reason we're here right now, right? We're focused on building a product to empower others. And then we share that with others to empower them. And then the cycle just kind of goes on and moves forward.
Yeah, no, that's good. And that's a really important step, the delight step. And that happens because it's like Instagram really didn't start to take off until they added filters, because the initial thing was just like, hey, posting photos. I really like seeing these photos, but I suck as a photographer. And then they added filters. Now all of a sudden I feel awesome.
Yep.
And that really starts to take off. And honestly, I think that's the issue with Twitter. Kind of has the issue of people sit there and like, I want to compose a tweet, and they'll sit there for half an hour trying to think of something clever, which is kind of not delighting me.
Yeah.
It just stresses me out.
Totally. There's a veritable bar that people have set when you have comedians and all other types of people on Twitter contributing,
like, man.
which is why the retweet comes in, right?
Yeah.
So somebody says something smart, I can retweet it. I can say, yep, I subscribe to this. This is awesome. And it's just kind of another way of like sharing the feels.
Yeah, share the feels. We hear ya.
So yeah,
the designer.
So delight kind of just comes back to I can be awesome, right? At the end of the day, you want to make your customers and your users feel smart. You want to make them feel empowered. And
How
so that's
fast can you get them to awesome with like minimal barriers? Because like I said, they might have already downloaded the app and forgot they did, like I did with Colin. So you have that link. That's good. So we'll post that in a second when we're off of your screen, but we'll have you post to that to the chat pod.
So I know I'm walking through some things, but it's just really important to kind of set the context here. Because
by the way, everybody gets college credit for this.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Totally.
Everybody gets at least 3 credits.
Happy to fill out any college credit forms.
Because you actually used to be a professor.
I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
See. So.
Yeah, I taught at the University of Cincinnati's DAP program, which is a 5-year architectural and design college.
That's cool.
So yeah, passing out free credits.
Free credits. Free credits. Free credits.
Hopefully, you guys your semesters are done, but if not, you know.
What's fun about this, by the way, is like a lot of times we have guests in here and they just jump right into like, let me just make pretty graphics. Like, and everybody's like, probably just like, let me see pretty graphics. First of all, we are showing you pretty graphics, but this is like the important stuff that gets the job done, because it doesn't matter how pretty it is, if you don't get people to essentially download it and get it in the experience, then like it could be as pretty as you want it to be, and they'll never see it.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a personal choice, and I'm not here to kind of build appetite as much as I want to walk through this content, but it's also just meant to take a step back and say, yes, we can always jump directly into the pixels. But it's also really nice just to, you know, especially if you guys are doing client work, if you're doing freelance work, I want to help frame the dialogue that you should have with potential customers or with potential people that want to build products and say, you know, why am I doing this? And why is this important? And it should come back to that. So as we outlined previously, we talked about the kind of touch, land, engage, and delight, and then we identified there's this moment for magic to happen. And then conversely to that, what that also helps frame up is the what, the why, and the how. So what is this product that I'm looking for? Okay, it's an application or it's an app icon that I'm seeing. And then when I land in the product, why am I here? What is this product going to do for me? What's the value proposition, which is another definition that we can talk about. And then how do I react with this product? How do I engage it? What's the interface? What are the things that I need to be doing? How can I become empowered? How can I do something that makes me feel awesome, right? What's that thing that I need to do?
This is good.
Go ahead.
And I'm just kind of relating this back to our contest. You know, again, I'm just looking at how I would do that. This is another case in point, like if we're talking about a smart fridge. So essentially what it is, like I know what it is because I just bought a smart fridge. It happens to have this screen. So maybe we would have the, like, why I would use it.
Yep. So
like, I'm trying to put that in context of this project.
Totally. So the what is that I have this smart fridge and it has this interface on here. Now the why that's important is, we could say the problem statement or why it's important is, well, there's a lot of time where you're kind of opening and closing the fridge and you don't really know what's in there. And as a result, this application simplifies your ability to do grocery shopping, to tell you what's available into the store, or to tell you what's available in your refrigerator. Obviously, these can be some form of luxuries, but I think in a world where digital interfaces and daily life and smart homes, this is probably a natural next step that's going to happen and exist if it already isn't. And then the how I engage with it, you know, we're looking at a touch interface. We have these 4 kind of panels that are kind of in a mondrian a little bit. And then within that, we're going to probably engage with each of those views.
Yeah, and then like the why is like, this is why you'd use it. It's like, hey, you know, you have this stuff in the fridge. This is the stuff that's missing. You know, and then the how is like the next step is maybe you click on that, and it's like, this is how you know, how you order more milk or whatever. Again, totally. I'm just trying to take a stab at this.
Like the why could be saving energy, right? It could say like the average consumer opens a refrigerator 300 times a week, and that costs X amount of energy to like heat and cool. So if you reduce the amount of opening, or if you reduce the time that it takes to kind of replace goods, that somehow can affect your energy in some way.
Yeah, and the motivation is lower your energy bill, like lower.
It could be lower your energy bill. It could just be simplifying, like the home grocery shopping process by saying, I know what's in the fridge, I know what's available to me. It depends on how deep you guys go with this, right? If you guys start to explore, you know, calorie data or overall nutritional values, then it can also suggest ways to eat healthier. There's a lot of potential there, I think.
Yeah, this is really fun. I would say one problem with this is potentially almost like too many. Are there too many choices right here? I feel like I don't know, maybe it's okay.
Yep.
I don't like it.
Decision fatigue is a thing, especially if you have too many options, but I think it's also good to help give exposure.
I'm just going to use CC libraries. I'm going to drop in. What's in the fridge? What's in the fridge? Oh yeah, what's in my fridge? Snacks.
Cake.
There you go. This is brand new too, by the way. So as I dropped this in, I'm just showing you, like, this is from my Creative Cloud library. You can see that link says, hey, you know what, I'm linked back to this asset right here, right? And we're actually sharing a library, but basically you can edit this and it will launch Photoshop. I can make those changes and it'll update back in XD, which is nice. And this is honestly, like, I totally sound like a commercial now, but I'm like, this is the cool thing about like Adobe products is I can make sure everything's integrated. Like if I'm working in Illustrator, like, can I have the seamless integration that I'm ultimately looking for?
Yeah,
anyway,
absolutely.
I'll shut up now.
Cool.
So, eat more healthy, everybody.
So I'm just going to cap off this portion. So the what, the why, and the how is how you establish value to the customer, and then engagement through delight is how you fulfill that promise. In other words, we're promising you this type of experience. Just to recap, we're talking about mindfulness as kind of our theme today, and we're going to explore what a mindful app could be like. That kind of stems from Apple choosing that the 2017 App of the Year was basically focused on mindfulness and meditation. It was called Calm.com. Okay, cool. So I know everybody's probably eager to jump into the work. I certainly am as well. I just wanted to go through a little bit more of what I've provided. At least in the template.
Wants the fridge to play music.
Oh, yeah.
What's going to happen.
Absolutely. Movies.
But I want it to be like anytime I open the freezer where the ice cream is, it's like a tuba. Like, you know, you're going to go get some. Sorry. Oh, this is cool. You already got some stuff laid out. Look at this.
Yes.
Look at you, sneaky.
So a couple things. If we're gonna design a product, it's important for us to have an idea of who we're gonna be designing it for. So I picked a persona. In this persona, a little bit of it was inspired by the personas that we have for free at Atlassian.design guidelines. So personas are basically character archetypes or user stories that you can use to help frame who you're kind of solving this for. So in this case, we chose Amy. She's a creative director. She's a people manager. She prides herself as an early adopter, so she's always kind of looking at what's the new app that's out there. Hey, Cedric, thanks for joining us. And, you know, she wants to try out the new things. This is a way for her to help sharing with her friends, but also help to feel smart. And then her news sources are her friends. And then meditation and listening brings mindfulness. So there's a component in her work and in her life where it's important to kind of take a break or help practice mindfulness and meditation. So her motivations, success. So she loves to carve out her path all the way to the top. Reputation, wants to earn the place by being seen, to be in the know and know the latest and greatest and who knows who. And then serendipity. So she kind of seeks out these new things and new experiences through new people. So, you know, at least for me, when I read this, I think that there's opportunities to create something that's fun through serendipity when you use those type of keywords. And also when you kind of bring in meditation and mindfulness.
Yeah. What is that URL again down there?
So I would probably just do a search for Atlassian personas and see if that comes up.
Ah, there we are. Cool. I will post that link just to the chat real fast.
Cool. So I'd love to do a little bit of work just with everybody right now. This is getting back into the reason we're going to create this product. So answering the why. So we've already decided the what. So the what is going to be a mindfulness application. And we need everybody to still contribute to a name. We don't have a name yet for this app, so.
And then, so yeah, let's talk about this. So this app is about mindfulness. So it's to kind of slow you down and kind of just calm you and be more focused. I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, I think that those are all really viable. At least like keywords. So I definitely think of presence. I definitely think of focus.
Okay, good.
So we're going to do, go ahead.
Yeah, no, so I was just going to say, so we're going to make a mindfulness app about being present and focused. There we go. Okay, cool.
And so our goal, if I zoom in here,
there we go,
is I believe that if we build X, we can impact or alter the way people do X.
Okay.
So I believe if we build a mindfulness app, it will greatly increase focus, potential, maybe happiness, and we can just basically say an overall general mindfulness. So sometimes these can be a little bit ethereal. They can also kind of reach outside of, got some repeat grid here.
Yeah. What? Oh, is that
I'm just going to ungroup that.
I know you're a designer because you use gray for your type color on white.
So I had that in here so I could help fill out or have people contribute and kind of fill out the blanks.
I love
it. Okay, so why? So why is mindfulness important? Does anybody have any contributions or any suggestions?
Why is
Thanks, Shalom. And we do have socks. They're right here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, this will be a giveaway that we're going to do in about 20 minutes. That's right. Only slightly worn. Marc wore one and I wore the other. And we showed up today, we put them together, and we want to give these to you in about 20 minutes. So that's what's happening.
I do like the color.
Because this is good. So like kind of back to what we were talking about here, it's like why we want to be mindful. Like we want this to be part of people's lives. I just think about like at the end of the day, you're just like, your brain just needs a second to organize things.
Yep.
And you just need to be calm.
Organize thoughts.
You just need a break, you know, at the end of the day.
Those are all great points. We'll put that in there.
Yeah.
So real quick, we're going to go how. We know it's an application, but I think right now is something that I've at least been thinking about is how to deliver mindfulness in the simplest way possible. And then measure of success. This is something that kind of gets back into product design. So a measurement of success is essentially how do we know that what we've built is going to achieve our goal and our what and our how of what we set out to accomplish. So this could just be something as simple as the feedback that we get from you guys. This could be the comments. This could be whether or not you enjoy the experience and enjoy the designs, and you feel that the prototype that we share at the end of day 3 is viable.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking. Oh, you guys are so good, Patrick. Mindfulness is like putting a warm pair of socks on right out of the dryer, which is so good. And somebody said, who was a Cowboy Network, said, you know, because you need a break, but he spelt it B-R-A-K-E, which also worked.
Yeah.
It was a misspelling, but it totally works.
No, but hitting stop is exactly what kind of
Live
taking
in the
mindfulness
moment.
is.
Leanna, good to see you. Mindfulness helps you see and accept things as they truly are, helping you manage your thoughts and emotion, which leads to a feeling of relaxation and ease. Chris, well put.
Awesome. That's great.
That's right. And so I'm pulling out some of these key words like mindfulness, calmness, break, spelt both ways, because we need to also come up with the name for this app as well. So refresh with a slash. Ooh, Merrick, that's good.
So a couple of things, just to kind of take a step back into why we're covering the goal and this overall idea of rationale. I found this quote from Julie Zo, who's a designer at Facebook, and it says, "A good designer will make you feel like you can ask her about any of the decisions she has made, and you get a clear answer."
Yeah.
So this gets back into the intention of why we're exploring this app and what does that mean for us.
Yeah.
I've got some just quick vocabulary. So we're going to talk about principles next. So a principle is a fundamental truth or a proposition that serves as a foundation for a system or belief or behavior. So a principle is a good way for us to help shape our product direction. And these are things that we want to help constrain us into what we're going to make decisions on. So if we decide a principle needs to be very simple, then that means that we basically want to come back and say, okay, we can ask ourselves, is this product complicated? Are we making complicated decisions, or is this simple enough?
Yeah, and this is good. So and you are the design team lead at Atlassian. So this is the stuff that you actually give your coworkers, basically. Like this is the stuff that they need to remain focused. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I mean, this is what we're covering right now is the basis fundamental for any time we're starting a project, and that can be from creating a feature, that can be from designing a new product, it can be just working on an experience, it can be improvement, but we always want to come back to the why, and we always want to have the rationale and the explanation of what we're approaching and what we hope to accomplish within that. And just a reminder, a rationale is a set of reasons or logical basis for a course of action. So it's our intention. I agree, Chris. Mindfulness does increase presentism.
And I like the unwind too. Is a good word. Mujtaba.
Yep.
And I think somebody else might have said that earlier.
And focus. We'll talk about this later, but a meteoric moment. So this is something that I do when I'm making mock-ups, and this gets back to a way to label and identify a magical moment. What's something that we do when we're engaging in the product that we want to call out and we say, oh, you know what? This can be an opportunity to have a lot of fun. We can really delight the customer here. And so it's a way to kind of come back because we want to visit it with animations, or we want to make sure that we add some type of level of interactions there.
Serenity is another good word. Thank you, Gus.
Where's the word?
Serenity.
Serenity.
Yeah.
Oh, focus with a K. Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have a word bank? We can create a word bank.
I'm kind of typing.
Are you?
Right
Okay,
now,
great.
Yeah.
So let's just talk about a couple principles. Though simple is not necessarily a full-fledged principle, we can definitely say that this will be kind of something that we want to focus on. Good intuitive UI is generally simple. Intuitive can tend to be subjective, but it's always good to kind of err on the side of simplicity, which is a challenge, right? What are some other principles that maybe you guys have seen that help shape product?
Oh, principles. So this is interesting. So, yeah, this is hard. There's already a test We got to answer this, everybody, otherwise we're not going to get our credit. So principle is that it's simple.
Yep.
Like, and these are the principles to live by for the app, like things that we would be like fun or something be part of it.
Yeah.
Is that a word?
Yeah, there's a principle that I often use, and it's called "Don't fight the fun."
Fun.
And what that means is, at the end of the day, we're here to create a prototype. We're here to have some fun, and within that experience, whether you're focusing on something that's business related, you can still have it. Continuity, it's a good principle.
Yeah. Intention. Patrice. Consistency is like continuity, of course.
Yep.
Self-control, would that be? Lighthearted.
Thanks, Mateus. You're my hero.
Thank you, Laura.
Because you got a star next to your name. Intuitive is good. Principle, habit forming. Okay. So continuity and consistency are absolutely valuable, especially when we're focusing on onboarding and user experience. We want to make sure that we're consistent in the experience, we're consistent in the language, we're consistent in the delivery, and just how we want to overall communicate. So I think we're pretty good. I think we definitely have a good basis. Let's see, we've got our persona, we've got our rationale, which is the reason we're creating something here today. We've got some good principles. We've got simple, don't fight the fun, and then we've got continuity, intention, and consistency. There's a quote here from Karim Suer. So a good designer will always have a logical answer for each decision. Nothing should be done at random. After all, and intentionality is a hallmark of good design. So this just kind of comes back to why we're establishing goals. You know, Patrice, the rationale spelling, I think I put the little accent on the E at one point, and I had the E. But yeah, if there's spelling mistakes, please correct me. Feedback is a gift. Cool. So I've got some other assets. It's not time to jump into these things yet, but I think for the next step, I'd actually love to just spend some time sketching. And as I'm sketching, I'd love to walk through talking about what I'm doing.
Maybe. And
so
we'll get that squared away. I do want to kind of focus on some of the, as you guys get that plugged in. These are currently the words I've been writing down from you guys. So we have break, meditate, refresh, unwind, focus with a K, serenity, presence, spelt this way, because I'm not sure if that was intentional, but I kind of like the misspelling of presence there. And then present was really good, so thank you so much for that. Breathe, all
Unwind
caps.
is cool.
Rationale wasn't really a word, it was just misspelling, but yeah. Unwind. Unwind.
So I think if we were creating like a San Francisco restaurant and it was about mindfulness, it would probably be called something like open, and it would just be like big letters.
Yeah, is that a San Francisco thing?
Just like 4 letters, just open, right? And just that's the space that you're coming in.
That's all you get.
That's it.
Is that word,
right? And you can't even find the name. It's like in the lower right-hand corner of like the window or something.
And it's just like on a plaque
Yep.
or something, just like something very simple. Oh, that's funny. B? Oh, I like that. B. Just B. Maybe that starts to look like Behance, but this is good. What is this? What's Spanish for
abierto?
Oh, abierto? That means open? A-B-I-E-R-T-O. This is good stuff. And I'll continue to, like, I guess, compile these names. Oh, just the letter B. B. That's interesting. That's single letter. Whew. Wow.
But it could make for a simple app icon design. Yeah. Cool. So I'm going to move over to some sketching, if that's cool.
Okay.
And I'm going to basically just retrace our footsteps from kind of the touch point to the onboarding all the way through sign in and sign up. And then you'll see that as I start sketching, there can be these forks where I may go down a path and I say, okay, yeah, we can do this. But then I'm going to jump out and do another idea. And then I'll start sketching around that idea. And then my hope is that what we sketch And the reason I'm sketching is, one, it's a really, really low fidelity, and it's a great way to communicate. Two, sometimes when I'm working in digital products and software, it can take my complete focus, and I'll kind of start noodling.
Okay.
And if I start noodling and I start jumping into assets, then I start making decisions too quickly. And so I'm going to sketch as a way of, and I'm sure Travis and other people have talked about why sketching is so valuable, but it's really just a way for me to kind of lock in some ideas, and then that way when I bring them back, I can commit to them.
Yeah, okay, so no judgment here as you sketch.
Totally.
Basically. And by the way, while you're doing that, I mean, you might need to set, you can talk all you want. You know, I know sometimes it's hard to, you just do your thing.
Okay.
I'm collecting still ideas. A couple more that came in is, of course, abierto, care. We have poise. I like shift. Shift is kind of cool. Ruminate.
So we don't know what the app icon's going to be, but that's going to be our launch point or our touch point. And then from there...
And just to recap, Dottie and anyone who's joining us, essentially, I'm here with the one and only Marc Reisen, at least the only Marc Reisen that matters, with a C. No offense to all the other Marks out there. But basically, we're building out sort of a mindfulness app, but we're kind of going through the onboarding process, which I think it seems like a lot of people just skip and expect all the users to already be logged in and have their app. And so we're kind of starting with, you know, the touch point initially, getting into the splash screen. Again, a mindfulness app, okay? Just to remind you, the contest, we do have a contest going on. The contest tab is right behind the chat tab. And essentially, we're going to be building out a Smart Fridge app. And we've already given you a file to start with. So that's happening right now. And you know what? Your chances are, I could go ahead and show you this. Look at this. Nobody has submitted anything. So if you submit something, there's a 100% chance you might win as long as you meet the minimum criteria, because nobody's submitted anything. Not to worry, that will close in about 38 minutes. So 38 minutes to enter that contest to win Creative Cloud for a year.
So what I'm doing right now, hopefully some of you have kind of experienced this, but the value proposition is basically defined as what's the value to the customer. And so generally when you first open up an app, you see the app icon, you go into the launch screen, which is kind of a full screen bleed or overtake, basically talking about the product name and logo again. Mm-hmm. And then once you land, you get into some type of value proposition screen. And these are where you kind of see the page control, swipe navigation, which are these three little dots that live here. And then sometimes these are illustrations, sometimes these are animations, sometimes they're, you know, a full bleed image. It could be like some mountain range, you know, there could be water that's kind of coming into the foreview. It could be blurred out. It could also be photographs of people, which could make it more relatable to kind of the end consumer. And so this is already like our first decision and where we get to decide how do we want to design our brand. Like what's the intention with this target customer? Do we want to use stock photography? Do we want to use illustrations? I'm curious to know what you guys think. My first inclination is to maybe use really rich stock photography. Calm.com has kind of these beautiful landscapes, and I like the idea of incorporating and invoking this idea of nice photography. So I'm just gonna keep sketching through that. But what happens on these value proposition screens is you're reaffirming what the value is. So we already talked about some things like being present and mindfulness. So
yeah, and it's always important to say it's not what the app does necessarily, it's what it does for you, right?
Correct.
Like we're building up the motivation for you to use it. That's kind of what these, I mean, it is kind of talking about how to use it, but essentially it's like, here's why you'd want to. Like,
Yeah.
right? Aren't we kind of doing that?
Yeah, we talked about setting expectations. So if somebody's coming in and they're looking at this app, you want to fulfill that promise of we're going to do these things for you. This is going to increase presence. This is going to, in the case of a game, it's you're going to have fun playing this game. You're going to enjoy the character design. You're going to enjoy the journey. You're going to grow and earn points and kind of have fun as you go through this process.
Yeah. No, that's good. I'm still collecting. Thank you. Shift. Ooh, shift with a Y. Yeah, look at us. SHYFT. Again, we're also thinking of names for this mindfulness app. And you can see them all right here. A couple more came through. Inner Mind is good as well. Mindful. Ooh, that's very, very, very hipster of you, like Rob McCormick. Mindful. MNDFUL. That's a big thing to do with, like, there's a lot of band names where they just pull out all the vowels. You notice that? It's really interesting.
Do you have an example?
Or
like Wham?
It's a shortened Mulholland, for instance.
Oh, okay.
Or SZA is another, like, just an interesting. That's not really the same, but when you say it, you say the vowels, but it's not spelled that way. Yeah, Ashley, that's not going to work. So again, we're making a mindfulness app. These are all the fun names. We have Marc sketching out sort of the initial sort of, your entry point and your screens as you go through this app. So, ooh, exhale. Ooh, no words. No words. I don't think I've seen you here before. Are you new? Would love to welcome you. Exhale. Brav. Mindle. I really like exhale personally. Lots of takes on mindful. There we go.
So a couple things that I was just thinking about as I was sketching these value proposition screens. You'll notice this black bar that I have at the bottom, and I'm just trying to indicate a call to action. And so that call to action is generally in the form of a sign up or login. But I'm having it on every screen, and persisting that button on every screen means that at any point in time, the customer or user could decide, okay, I don't want to continue reading about the value prop, just let me in. And if we were to have made another choice by waiting until you got to the end, then that would have kept the customer or the user from getting into the app immediately. So we're persisting that button, and then these other blocks are just implied text. And I'm sure everybody's familiar if you've ever used a mobile app. This structure, this format it's a pretty well-known paradigm of just having text and then having the call to action, and then whatever you choose, whatever type of brand is going to be in the background, be it illustrations or animations. It's important to know that most customers spend very little time on these screens, but things that you can do to increase time on these screens is have animations, because it draws the attention and people will kind of say, oh, wow, that was kind of interesting. When I swiped, that thing shifted from this screen over here to this screen. And you kind of end up playing with it, and that allows you to process a bit more of the content that's going in there. So I'm trying to figure out.
I think the app should be called Warm Socks.
Warm Socks?
Just because, it just sounds wonderful. Warm Socks.
Why not?
Yeah. So the list is basically about names for this potential app. And maybe we'll work on a logo too or something. But we do have to work on the prototype. And I did see somebody say that they were working on their own little prototype as well.
Awesome.
Again, you can see it.
Are we able to get people to vote for the names?
We could do that. Yeah.
Okay.
We can put together a little list.
So once you kind of click the sign up button, that's generally where you're going to go into some type of name, email, confirmation. And then something that I often see a lot of when you get into sign-in screens is that you tend to forget or compensate for the fact that the keyboard is going to come up and push all the content. So sometimes your content may start, you know, at like 2/3, or it can come in, you know, at 1/3. But it's important to know that once you focus into these input fields and start to enter your name, that it's going to push the content up. And so if we were to have a screen before this, that's like a pretty common login screen, which could be the logo and then the name. Often people want that logo to transition into the next screen, and it has to pop up to the top of the screen once you engage the keyboard. And some other things just to be like cognizant of is that the button and the primary call to action for completing these sign-up forms, you all want to have above the keyboard, because designing those things below the keyboard or further down on the screen and then engaging the keyboard, it kind of squishes all the content. So it's something just to think about as you're going through these experiences. I've certainly made the mistake where I've designed content well below where it should be, and then I have to fix it.
Yeah, that's and on that note, what I'm actually downloading is their UI kits available for XD. So all I did is in XD file, get UI kits right up here. Because if you do want that keyboard, you can just go to iOS and then download that, you know, all those various assets that you can potentially use. You can see the keyboard right here. Right. So again, I can steal these all I want. So, Indu, to answer your question, the contest, just click on the contest tab and you will be making this fancy little smart fridge experience, right? Clicking right here. What do these 3 screens have? Link them together. Put your own assets in there. Maybe could be anything. The app could do anything. We just need 3 screens that are linked together. And you have about 30 more minutes to enter into this contest. And by the way, we do have one in there. Looks like Mujaba has a 100% chance of winning, provided he's followed all the criteria for the contest, because he just got his in a minute ago. So congratulations to you. And yeah, now you know.
Okay. So I just realized I'm going through this experience and I'm drawing some value proposition screens and I'm getting into a sign up form. And I realize like all those things are very common patterns that we can explore, but with iteration and with the exploration, I wanted to kind of take another avenue and take a look at what this user onboarding could look like. So right now, if we talk about what's happening, we launch the app icon, we hit the splash screen, we go through maybe 1 to 3 value proposition screens, and then we go into our sign in, and then we hit the app. And that's not a lot of steps, but it's a lot of requirements for the customer at that point in time to really engage with the product.
And do you even need to have them sign in? Like, what if it's, you know, say for instance, I don't even know how Instagram works today if you're not signed in, but could they get you to take a photo and then when you go to post it, that's when you sign in?
Totally. Yep. Like using tactics like getting you to actually engage with the product and establishing the value, and then saying, well, in order for us to have people follow you, you actually need to create your account, or you need to do something. But I'm going back to our principles and I'm saying, okay, this needs to be simple. And right now, it's not that it's not simple. It's just, I think that we could probably improve on some things. I don't know what it needs to be. And then we're saying, don't fight the fun. And continuity is also a really important thing. So I'm going to, if everybody's okay with this, I'm just going to take this idea and then start sketching on a new layer. And one of the things that I'm pretty intrigued by these days, what is bot experiences. And I think that it's a really, you know, the communication and ability to engage with a product in the form of something that we're all very comfortable doing today, like We all use Messenger. We all use WhatsApp. We all use some form of iMessage. We all use Google Hangouts to kind of chat. So I think that there's this potential in this product to maybe engage the customer or the user through some type of AI or some type of bot to make it feel a little bit more authentic, in the sense of this is a private app for me, and in making it private, I want to make sure that I'm having this conversation with this person. We can potentially use the bot to then alleviate the sign up form, because they can say, well, what's your name? And then we can type in their name. And then they can say, well, what's your email? And then we can type in the email. And we're not having to go through the normal sign up input fields that we would see.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. So it kind of makes it a little bit more friendly, I think. You know, again, sort of just like wrapping in. It's not even a persona, but this bot or this person, quote unquote, that you're having a conversation with potentially. But it's really just like a bot you're having a conversation with.
Yep. So I'm going to try to sketch out some of these ideas real quick.
Siesta. Thank you for chillax. Haven't heard that word in a while. It's IESTA. Ooh, I do want to show something really fast. Since you were talking about this, Get UI Kits, I went to wireframes, and that will take you to this wireframe UX kit. And I've downloaded it. You can see all the various screens. And this actually has some of not only the sign up, but the onboarding too, kind of what we're talking about. So I'll have to show Mark this. What's cool about this, by the way, is like, I don't know if you guys know that the assets are all linked. So anytime I put a color over here, I can always edit this color. So I can change this, even though this is a generic UI kit, I can say, hey, you know what? I want to go with pink and pink, right? As I start to change this, you can see it's going to change pretty much everywhere. And I've quickly updated this to kind of the look that I'm looking for, okay? So this is available to you as well. If you are entering the contest, this might be somewhat helpful. So thank you, Adobe Live team. Replay might be another name. Retrace. Yeah, Mujtaba. I love this, that everything is linked. Like the global colors. I want global colors everywhere, quite frankly. In Illustrator, when you make a new color, the global colors box is checked, actually. Ooh, you know what we need to do, by the way? As you're working, Mark.
Is it
Hey.
awards time?
Let's do that. All right. First of all, thank you. Ooh, Zen with an X. Vahid, good one. X-E-N. I kind of like that, Zen. Dope. All right, so like I mentioned an hour ago, I said we'd do a giveaway. Let's go ahead and give away these fancy Adobe XD socks. Right? Only slightly worn. Just kidding. Brand new. Not only the left one, but also the right one. All you have to do is just be active in chat. So say, hello, hey, I want those socks. Or hey, peace be with you. Or Mark, I love how you spell your name with a C. You could say anything. We just need to make sure there's a live person at the end of that keyboard so you could potentially win these fancy socks and do what you want with them. They make great hand puppets. They could, of course, go on your feet. They can keep your hands warm as long as you're not typing. We just need to hear from you. Fresh, warm socks out of the dryer. Which, you know, happiness is like warm socks, you know?
Happiness is warm socks, especially around a fire.
Right? Some nice warm socks.
So, there's a couple things that I'm sketching out right now. One is once you've landed in the product, we can continue to do the value proposition screens, but I've alleviated the whole sign-up process by actually not having you to input any information. And so immediately you can jump into this interface where you're having a conversation with the bot. And one of the things that's pretty amazing about this is that you can embed a lot of different types of content within this experience that looks like a chat, though it may not have to be. It's not an actual chat, right? You can make it very, very rich because you're building the components and how you want to engage. So we have a lot of freedom on how we want to introduce different types of media, how we want to introduce activities, how we want to introduce like what a moment for pause or mindfulness or meditation would look like. Maybe there's some component of like adding quotes or things that just kind of help you fill your day. But what I started to do was write out a rough script of what I think this bot would say to you. And so I think generally it starts with a greeting of kind of a hello or a my name is. And then there it would kind of move through, well, we have a couple questions to ask. And that could come in the form of what's your name, what's your email. We could offer up a suggestion of what it looks like, of whether you'd prefer like a male or a female type of conversation. Or it could be like a character. It could be like an animal. But you could kind of choose these types of options. And then I think one of the important things for mindfulness is acknowledging or asking, how are you feeling? And so imagine if like the first time you opened up this product, the first thing it asked you was, how are you feeling today?
Yeah.
And would your response be, you know, I'm feeling awesome. I'm great. Could it be like, oh, you know, I'm actually a bit down and I don't know why? Could it be I need inspiration or I feel inspired? But offering up these types of like decisions is going to allow us to navigate how the person experiences this product and app. So I've got some sketches.
I like that.
I think at some point it's probably going to be important to start nailing down the script, but maybe we can just kind of do that on the fly and we can start getting into building some things. So if we have a name, I'd love to kind of kick it off.
We don't quite have a name yet. I will say one thing we have the winner of the fancy Adobe XD socks. There they are. Beautiful. And that winner happens to be Mujtaba Murtaza. Murtaza. I apologize if I'm not saying that name correctly, but there we go. There you are. If this is you, just say thank you very much in the chat and we will contact you. Congratulations, Mujtaba. Fantastic. So yeah, warm socks. So that's what this is going to be like, putting on some nice warm socks.
Is that the name?
Not quite yet, but...
I mean, we can work with anything.
We could. Here are actually all the names, by the way. I've still been collecting them. So you can see kind of where I don't even know where we left off. It said shift,
ruminate,
being, inner mind, mindful, lots of mindfuls, exhale, warm socks, I threw that in, ethereal, chillax, siesta, zen. I'll have to get this narrowed down to maybe the top 5, and then we'll do a vote. Okay,
that sounds great. So I've got some sketches. I'm starting to shape an idea, and then what I'm feeling like I could do is I'll probably write out a bit of this script, and then I'd like to transfer that into actually getting us into prototyping. Now, some other things we haven't determined. We've only shown one interface right now, which is basically this sketch interface. And I'm curious if anybody feels like we need to have other components or other aspects to this product. We could maybe have some type of profile. You know, generally products kind of focus on these. There's a search component, there's a discovery component, there's some type of feed component in regards to views that you have in this product. So I'm curious, I'm open if anybody has any suggestions. I'm wondering if maybe there's some type of mindfulness exercise that you do that maybe you want to save, and if saving that ends up being something that you want to go back to at some point in time, or if you want the experience to come about through discovery and searches. Does anybody have any ideas?
Yeah, I mean, I personally, and people are kind of wondering what, it looks like Joseph submitted for the contest. That's awesome. You have about 15 minutes to enter the contest, which click that contest tab, and that's about sort of creating an experience for a smart fridge. But back to your question, like, does it save it? Does it give you a feed? I like the idea of saving my sort of like my state of mind on that day. I like what you mentioned. How are you feeling today? And if I had a list of 5 things, you know, from happy to sad, and then be able to track that over a calendar.
Awesome.
You know, I would like to like go back and say, hey, you know what? All the colors are getting lighter. I'm actually a little bit happier than I was.
Cool. So we're talking about some form of analytics, which is fun and always really exciting to design. So
okay, we're going to take your word for it.
We can try to think of, you know, what type of analytic chart, you know, we want to use. Like maybe there's some type of like Apple activity type of chart. And you mentioned that there's some relevancy of the day. So maybe we can go from today to yesterday, or maybe tomorrow. Realize I'm running out of screen space here. Or it could even have some aspect of like tracking, right? Mm-hmm. So we can design all these things once we kind of figure out what's something that makes sense. Any other key views that you think should be in there? We're obviously going to have our bot conversation, although that could also kind of live outside of that. We've got profile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe there is some aspect of search or something. And search could just be a way for you to help.
And is that our like
mains,
the awareness screen? Is that our like main screen?
I think the main screen is going to come in the form of the conversation that you have with the bot, because we could actually decide to not do screens. We can see where it goes, but having the ability to archive or keep track of something, I think, is going to be really valuable here. But I'm open. See where it goes.
You are open, and that is one of the potential names for our app.
All right.
That I will still put in a list.
So I'm going to move over to XD, and I'm going to start crafting up some stuff.
And you're going to need a name soon, so... Some really good names for apps.
So I'm starting to just give myself a little bit of reference within the script to kind of refer back to, so that the next thing I can do is I can start building out the dialogue that you're going to have. So some basics. Hello, my name is... and then before we move forward, we have a couple of questions. What is your name? So this is actually us taking the original onboarding experience that we had, which was input fields, and then going into the chat conversation. So what is your name? We could ask for email or phone number in order to verify, but not necessarily something that we need. And then we could get into the how are you feeling today? And so within that, we would probably have a couple options. So some options are happy, sad, sick, maybe a meh, just to see if that's something that adds value. And then we can ask them maybe something in like what are you most interested learning about mindfulness. And so this could be a way for us to help shape or direct the type of conversation that you're going to have. So we could say meditation is an option. We could say focus, presence, reminders. This kind of goes on. So I'm going to pull up my template that I have over here, which is running a grid. And this is just a basic iOS 11
Thank you, guys.
iOS template. And all that I have added is just the title in there. So let's see if we can start getting into maybe some of the value proposition stuff that we talked about.
All right, so just to recap, we're dealing with are these the onboarding screens?
Yeah.
And then I just posted a link, basically Adobe Live Team did as well. So click on that link, that's a poll, so we will be able to pick. I just grabbed 8 names, and whichever one people vote on, that's the one we'll use. So don't forget about that. We gave away socks, and then they have 10 minutes to work on an app.
Okay. So just to recap, what we're talking about right now is first user experience, and what we've identified in the first user experience is kind of the touch, land, engage, and delight. And so as we're moving through this, I'm going to be able to take the mobile experiences and then kind of align them to each of these touch points that we're describing right now. So I'm just going to start blocking in some things. I don't think we need these yet.
Susan, Valerie, breathe in, good. Sorry, I didn't put all like 30 names in there. I picked the top 8 just to make it easier to, yeah, that way we don't have so many ties.
So I'm just kind of, I'm making some decisions real quick until we're able to really decide on the brand, and I'm happy to spend a little bit more time. So let's just say this is our app icon. And then within that, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, you're doing well. Just like what you're making decisions here, Matthias, to answer your question, just for that prototype, the prototype is just a potential, it's just an options for you. So you have to use all these small boxes. The key thing is to just reference the contest, which is all about just linking 3 screens together with interactions. So you do have to design 3 screens, but they don't have to be boxes. Laura, you are welcome. I don't know which one was yours, but I try to pick the best 8 names, and that's what's at that straw poll, which looks something like this, just so you know. What's a good name for a mindfulness app? As you do that, you want to hear. We have Zen with an X. We have mindful, spelt like different ways we could play with. Unwind, breathe, all caps. Present, which that was good because it's like a Christmas, birthday present. Exhale, pause, and then be. So that's kind of where we're at.
I like Zen and I like mindful. I think they're all great ideas. I'm trying to think of something that could also help inspire us a little bit. You know, if we pick something like Zen, I think it kind of denotes, at least for me, like I start getting images of kind of meditation, kind of like Buddha, or kind of like the Buddhist like meditation. A little bit of Zendesk, but so I think that's interesting.
I like Zen. I like Zen. I like present. I'm not sure about like bows and ribbons. That isn't that compelling to me, but I like the idea of maybe boxes and opening up things, like a graphic box, and you open it up and it's just a beautiful, like peaceful scene or something. Like I like even folding things.
That's an awesome interaction.
That. So I'm kind of torn between these two. I'm gonna vote for Zen. Ooh, wow, Zen is winning, actually. So that's just a fun straw poll, and yeah, I might even take a look at, we could switch to you. Looks like you've been doing some work. I like it.
Yeah, so I'm just making a couple decisions, and this is important to explain. I'm even though we're working digitally, I'm early in kind of the wireframe phase right now. So I'm starting to block in some values. I'm starting to think about some content. What I'm showing right now is we can label this. So this is the launch screen. So generally the launch screen is inspired by or reminiscent of what the app icon is. You know, right now when you open up an app icon, you kind of see the app explode onto the screen, and it comes from the app icon, which is a way that you handle motion that's indicative of where it's coming from. So we obviously want to try to connect the two experiences to say, okay, I open the app, and then from there, I land in the app. Some things that we talked about are these value proposition screens. So we can start to put some copy.
Special thanks to Mujtaba, Ivan, Deepak, Joseph. Looks like we have about 8 entries in, so thank you very much for those. We'll review those as soon as I get them loaded up.
So I just wanted to refer back to some sketches and some ideas that we had. So
we're getting work done. Everybody's like, just working away. You're going from sketch to into XD. We have 8 entries. We just gave away socks.
So I'm definitely not a wordsmith by any means, but in trying to block out values and trying to move through this wire experience and then into the full-fledged product, I'm just going to start putting in some copy here.
Okay.
Would love suggestions, corrections on typos, but I'm just going to kind of wing a little bit about what we want this mindfulness app to talk about in these value proposition screens. So maybe the first thing is become mindful, and so this can be take time out of your day for pause, reflection, and focus.
And maybe
Might even make sense to just put some lorem in here. We can do it. We're fine.
since you are working on dialogue, maybe we should take a look at the results from the poll.
Let's do it.
And looks like our winner for the name of the app is going to be Zen with an X. So this might influence some of the copy now. So
yeah, absolutely.
Congratulations, whoever came up with Zen with an X. Let us know who you were or what. Again, it's brainstorming, so I don't know. You know how brainstorming goes.
Yeah.
Like nobody can take credit. You know, like everybody.
There's
like
really,
who knows where ideas come from?
Yep, absolutely. it all just kind of happens on a collaborative level. But yeah, no idea is a bad idea, and it's just good just to kind of shoot as many ideas out there as possible, and then it's a good way to also come back to what are we trying to accomplish. So it sounds like everyone viewing felt like Zen really related to mindfulness, and that they were able to kind of connect the dots mentally and say, yep, you know what, this is something that sounds like it's aligned with mindfulness, and this is something that we can be doing.
Yeah, and fun to kind of make a logo based on, those 3 letters or just that whole topic is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So thank you,
absolutely.
Whoever came up with that. I don't know if James Bagara was just joking when he says it was him, but either way, congratulations. While you're doing that, you're doing a great job. I could actually probably review some of our entries for the contest.
Sounds great.
Does that work for you?
Yeah. Yeah. We can switch off the screen.
Yeah, fantastic. So this is Mujtaba, who won the socks earlier. So you can see his design right here. Let's actually just go full screen. And this is, again, this is the contest to win Creative Cloud for a year. Click on the contest tab. This is Smart Fridge. We can dive into this. As I click, I can see we have Smart Fruit. I can go back right here. Let's check out this. What to cook might be a menu there. Let's click on this. Looks like there's these 2 buttons active. So he meets the requirement of 3 screens. You know, it's like here, cook. I assume that will have a recipe. And this is, I guess, Smart Fruit. You can have Smart Fruit.
That's awesome.
Just the fact that you're eating fruit, you know, makes you smart, by the way. Let's check out Ivan's. Griffey. Oh, his is an XD file, so let's just download this real fast. And again, you can also just publish the prototype. That would be better, but let's open this up. He might have sent me the wrong file, but this is all that I'm getting. I'm not really getting anything. If you don't mind, my friend Ivan, if you could just resubmit yours. Ideally, we want you to actually just hit this publish link right up here. Boop. Publish prototype and submit that through the form. So that's how that's done. Let's just go back over to Deepika Amarnath. Ooh, I love this. Temperature control. Freshness check on different vegetables. Let's take a look at temperature control. Has the temperature for the wine that you can like set that temperature. We could also explore different, looks like desserts that we could even make based on what's in the fridge. So again, that's a perfect scenario, and fantastic job, Deepika. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Joseph Franco. He's already buttering us up. Says, hey, welcome, handsome. Hope you're doing well today. I am now that you call me handsome. We can go into the calendar, so I like how this fridge has more than just what's in the fridge. Go into the calendar and say, hey, Thursday we have basically some coffee or some different things that will be taking place there. But let's go through these screens. Cool. App Varun. We get another temperature screen right here. We can see the current temperature. We can jump to a schedule and a calendar. Let's go back. Apps. You can actually get different apps, looks like, for notifications and other things. So thinking long term, this is nice. All the details in the fridge, record it. Oh, I like this. Sort of like write down notes for what you need. 2 more. Tyrone Henry. We love you too, Tyrone. But it looks like we have a temperature.
Got some weather going.
Got some weather, some news. This is nice. Shop. Let's go shopping. Closest grocery stores. And then also maybe what's on sale at the grocery store might be what that is.
I like the touch of adding like what looks like children's artwork.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's pretty clever. So that's a good call. Then we have. Wait, maybe this one got put in twice. Yeah, it did. Oh, hello. We have more. So yeah, switch to Mark's screen.
So again, all I'm really trying to do at this point in time is really just start to block out some screens that I know we can then come back and revisit to get some design. So I'm essentially taking the sketches that I had within the iPad and then trying to transfer them so that we actually at least are starting to lay on content. And then we can start getting into designing the logo and designing the look and feel. But I wanted to kind of at least take some time just to take a look at currently where we're at, and then figure out just how this is all working out. So we have the app icon, and then we go into the launch screen. And then as you hit the launch screen, it would probably fade or transition into what's going to be the value proposition. So mindfulness assistant, maybe it's your personal, no, we could say your Zen. Let's just say mindfulness assistant. So we say share with your personal mindfulness assistant, available to you at all hours of the day. Become mindful, which is essentially the promise that by using this app, this is something that you can become more mindfulness in. And then maybe there's a component of sharing things that you've learned or things that have added value to you through the app. So maybe there's an aspect where you can kind of share with your friends, just kind of helpful. So I'm going to start basically designing what's going to be this conversation with this bot. All that I have right now are basically a really lightweight iOS 11 UI. So we have kind of the system bar, which is shows your service network provider, the time of day, and then the battery power. And then we're using the large iOS 11 typeface, which is the SF bold here, and it's at 34 points. And I've actually put all this provided into, so this stuff is awesome. Actually, the left-hand panel now, where I've been able to organize the color swatch and have the character styles, has been super, super awesome.
Good.
So hopefully, if we share that to everybody, that helps empower everybody else to kind of get into the product and the design and their own experience. So we started talking about what's the script here. So I'm just going to use this as a reference and put this in. So let's just say, looks like we're using some white text.
Boy, we have a lot of entries. Oh, we have a lot of entries that just came in, man.
Oh yeah, for designs?
Man.
Awesome.
Let's kind of click through some of these, I guess. Went through these already, and let's take a look at some of these new ones. So we have, this is actually the names that submitted. Creative.
I'm liking the use of the color blocks there.
Clicking right here. Oh, look at that.
Wow.
Add oranges. Boom, boom. Awesome. That's cool. So there's 6 screens in here. So let's click on vegetables. Maybe these are the vegetables that is something for me. So again, go shopping, add some kiwis, and let's go a little further. Yeah, so this is like allows you to add fruit from the fridge, and it gives you other items. So that's pretty awesome.
That's awesome. That's a nice flow.
Chandra, I really like this screen too. So this is pretty cool. Gives you the time, temperature, where things are at. Let's actually just kind of see what we have. Go into fruits. We're doing pretty good on our fruit. Let's go into ice cream. This is more important. Let's get down to the real stuff. Ice cream. Fantastic. And I like this. I like this screen. It's kind of nice.
Yeah,
and
the high contrast with like the bright cyan and the dark colors. It's really good. Also, like something really nice to have at nighttime, right? If you're kind of wandering to the fridge late at night to kind of find your ice cream, something like this is going to be really nice and easy on the eyes in a dark setting versus kind of like a bright white interface.
Yeah, that's true. Delmantas, I think he actually already won Creative Cloud, but we can open the fridge, see what's in the fridge. Fancy. Go to the next screen. Okay, go into red cabbage. Yeah, so kind of see what's in the fridge. I like the idea of having this big tiled view. If I could see everything in my fridge from, I don't know, maybe this screen.
Yeah,
that's good.
Really nice interface. Also, the fact that like each of the images are kind of hanging off to the edge lets you know that you can kind of swipe to the left.
So
I like the the simple branding up there too, with smart fridge and like the bold typeface.
That is pretty good.
Nice and clean.
All right, so I'm gonna. Can you go full screen on us? I can't show you our secret spreadsheet. If we don't get to your design, just holler, because there's quite a few that we need to go through. So if we don't get through these this hour, we'll just roll them into the next hour. Because again, there's 24 to deal with.
Wow, that's awesome, guys.
Whew.
I'm gonna kind of get back to this stuff.
Okay, good, good, good. Thank you so much for that. Let's just clean this up. So we'll just cap it at like, I've almost reviewed them all, but we'll cap it at about 16. So if we don't cover your design during this session, we'll cover it during the next session. So not to worry.
So all that I'm starting to do is transfer a little bit of the script, and I actually have. So I don't know if this is a practice that everybody does, but I know like sometimes when you're finding padding in design, sometimes people will kind of use templates, and people will do some type of grid. One thing that I do, which is actually great now that you guys have added this new feature to stroke to the inside.
Yeah.
But one thing I do is actually set a border on the object that I want consistent padding around, and I'll set that padding to something like 8 pixels. And then I'm able to kind of quickly place whether or not I'm within those boundaries. And this is just kind of an easy way for me to say, okay, I'm at least somewhere in the ballpark of the padding that I'm looking for. And it's, I don't know, it's a useful tactic for me, at least when I'm kind of setting up an overall grid.
Yeah, I like that. I like
so
that.
let's do some uneven borders. You know what? Let's see if we can got a little emoji cheat sheet over here. This guy needs some kind of little face until we're able to decide if it's going to be a human or not. Oh.
Whew. All right, that took some time. All right, I have this down to a lot of entries. All right. We're working. Sorry, I've ignored chat. Laura, I deeply apologize. Pankaj, oh yes, if you didn't quite miss the stream, don't worry. You could actually scroll back. You could actually watch this. This is being recorded. It's going to be posted later on. We want you to stay live with us here, but you can actually scrub back in this player and watch from the beginning if you want to. So Basically what's happening, Marc Reisen is doing a mindfulness app, walking through sort of the intro screens, which we have a couple more days to work on this, which is fantastic. We also had a contest going on, and I've been head down looking through all these fantastic entries. We've had a lot. I want to review these. Let's highlight these now, man. These are awesome. We're going to talk about Chandra's, which again, we like this interface. Let's kind of move on from there. This should be, let's do a take. Wait for it. This is Michael's. Michael Terrans. So quick trip, just kind of the amount remaining of these different items. Again, he's still kind of working on this, so it's a work in progress. I like the idea, kind of like this quick view is nice, and then just start filling in those items. That would be great. Let's take a look at this one. This one is the next one we want to review. Let's just refresh. And this is perfect. Looks like they used Adobe stock here. Yeah, you don't have to buy real images, but clicking in here, we can see the leftovers, potential recipes for the leftovers in your fridge, which is a great concept. Let's go one more screen. Hey, guess what? If you click on tacos, for instance, yeah, you can make tacos.
Oh, that's great.
Who doesn't love tacos?
Loving the photography.
Yeah, photography is great. Let's go to Martin van der Zoan. Okay, looks like he's still working on this one too. It's an XD file, the temperature, news, food market, and then just build out this a little bit more, and that would be great. You might have the option of resubmitting it, so I feel bad reviewing that one. But we do have some good ones. I've already reviewed that one. I'll get this narrowed down to sort of like our top 5, Mark, and then me and you will kind of decide on what
Great.
we want to go with. Okay. So we have one here. This is going to take me a while to figure out who. Yes. Mujtaba is great. This next one is Deepika's, which this is super clean screen. I like it. Next one, we have Joseph Franco's, which this is a clean, a lot's going on in this one screen, and this one was the calendar. Okay, so that is Joseph's. Varun's, which I like this little note. If you could actually sort of, draw on that, but you can also get other apps. And then let's go to, this might have been Tyrone's. Yes, Tyrone's, and we liked this note here. I think the design could use some work, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think that from a component standpoint, they're touching on the right things. I think that it would just be, if you could combine some of these, or if you could get some of these people working together, content's really aligned. But yeah.
I think so too. So
this is also a nice interface.
Yeah, so I'll start pulling these out. Chandra, this one is great because again, it has a consistent look, which is what I like about it, and it is a dark interface. Look at these narrowed down into our top ones right now. Multiple options happening. All right. So what I have is our top 4. If you didn't label the app, then I might not know your name, but I know this is Joseph's. We have a couple others here, so hopefully we could figure this out. So these two are similar, so that's kind of an issue. As we kind of click in, this is a calendar, and this one just has an app view. So maybe you like one of these better. So we can go through clicking on temperature for the wine.
That's fun.
And then even the different recipes that you can explore based on your ingredients. And here, this gives you sort of like a quick view of what's available in your fridge. Most importantly, ice cream.
Yeah, these are really great.
Yeah, they are fantastic. And again, to do multiple screens within such a short amount of time, super impressive. But these two are currently my favorite, but you're our guests. I don't want to make you into the bad guy, but I want your professional opinion on which one you think is best.
So I think the top 3 that I'm seeing in the foreground are my top 3 choices. This submission in particular, I like the addition of being able to take notes, as well as displaying the stats. I think from a design, like the overall usage of color, it's a lot of fun. It's definitely not as homogeneous as like the one next to it, right? Where you're kind of using a simple color palette with the two colors.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan of like, so we have solid colors here, and then we have like a little bit of a gradient here. So I don't know. I feel like I want to have more consistency with these. And I like the idea of if I'm going to be checking out the fridge at night, I like the dark background here, you know. This one looks really clean too. I feel like your focus it's broken up between images and sketches, like photos and sketches.
Yeah, and they did a nice job, if you go to the previous screen, like connecting the colors. So there's consistency with the purple values and kind of the hues that they're using. So here especially.
All right, so which one is your favorite?
I think I'm going to have to go with option A right now, which is the one furthest to the left that we're looking at.
Right here?
Yeah, I think just from overall usage of kind of like the caricature illustrations, the imagery, the reminders and the refills is a really nice touch. I think it is, you know, in regards to some of the other applications, the fact that other people are sharing the energy. I think I'd also go for the one that was the dark and the cyan too. So those are my top two.
Well, we got to pick one, man. Which one you want to go with?
We'll go with A.
All right, A wins. Congratulations. This goes to Deepika Amarnath. And we will double check just to make sure you're eligible and all that good stuff. And congratulations to Deepika Amarnath. If we did not review your design, don't worry. It's going to be rolled back into the next session. So love to have you stick around for that. That'd be fantastic. So congratulations, Deepika. You actually win Creative Cloud for 1 year. And if you already have it, it just gets added to your membership. We have about a couple minutes left. Let's see which, we'll kind of switch over to you. And again, just a couple minutes left. And then we'll have Zach London up from 11 to 1. He's over there. He's doing his yoga. Zach. He's doing his yoga stretches. He's ready. He's working it.
So, you know, right now what I'm basically doing is just applying essentially what's in the script and to a rough wireframe right now for what we're going to basically be exploring and getting deeper into tomorrow. So now that we have a name, my hope is tomorrow that we can go a little bit deeper into what the branding would be for that name, and we can come up with a logo, and then we can actually start designing whether or not we decide we want full-fledged high-res photography or whether we want something more like a caricature. And then we can actually start going through the customer experience of what it's going to be like as they're having a conversation with this bot and moving through the rest of that experience. So we're really just laying groundwork right now. And I realize we did spend some time going over the goals and the rationale. But I think that as we move through this process, we'll find out that that adds a lot of validity and consistency in what we're pursuing.
And we didn't just throw pretty graphics at screens right away. A lot of thought went into this.
Totally.
And we'll share that too. We'll share your workflow prototype, if you will, tomorrow.
Yes. So some big questions for me right now are kind of from the brand perspective, the photography. Using this avatar, I put a smiley face in there just because I didn't want to stare at a deep blue purple. But, you know, how we're going to add in real photography to make it feel like somebody's talking to somebody, and how we're going to engage them through the experience. And yeah, we'll just basically get a really nice full-fledged, I guess, app tomorrow. And then continue going through experience and just go deeper and deeper into the product.
That sounds great. That sounds great, Marc. Marc
Awesome.
Reisen in the house. It's going to be back tomorrow, 9 a.m.
9 a.m.
PST.
Yep. Happy to be here.
Fantastic. We love having you here, and it's awesome. We have Zach London up next, Timothy Hikes, as well as Catherine Wang. Stick around with us all day, everyone. And yeah, don't go anywhere. If we didn't review your submission, we will next hour. Did you have a good time?
I did. And thank you so much for the submissions. It was good. But no, it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed looking at the refrigerator submissions. I mean, people are able to move really, really quickly.
Well, and we just appreciate, like, again, getting college credit for sitting with a former professor and someone who leads a team doing mobile design. It's fantastic having you here. So everybody give Marc a big thank you. We're thankful for you guys as well.
Thanks, Gappy.
Yes, stick around. we have Zach up next. He's right over there. He's about to step up. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you in a second.
Thank you.